Hello, Karen here, Emerging Soul Tarot with a Tuesday reading for you. Just trying to grab my cards here. I'm going to pull a card from the EarthCraft deck and then some from the Shamanic healing deck. See what we have. Okay. Right. Balance. Just get my glasses so I can see the card properly. Balance. Beautiful. That's beautiful. We got the sun and the moon there. It's very self-explanatory. Something we're in much need of at the moment. All of us, the world globally, we need that balance. But we're talking about obviously the sun and the moon, the light and the dark, the earth and the sky. But with that sense that the opposites are always in balance and they're always working together towards the same goal. So when we have something that we perceive as, dark, death, endings, dark night of the soul, spiritually, whatever it is, that is as much working for the good, for balance, for a kind of bringing all things together as the joyful experiences. And also we need to recognize that the light will highlight things that may lay hidden. So we always see the sun, as the emotions the sun brings you of joy and expansion and brightness. But that light, when you see it, when the sun's at its highest, its brightest, not its highest, its brightest, it casts the darkest shadows. And they're supposed to be together. So with that shadow, it's that sense of, we can look at it as higher self and ego, and that ego can be in the light or in the dark. It can be illumined or in darkness, but it's still there. But there's a kind of balancing between the higher self and the ego in the soul's ecosystem. So it's not that we kill our ego, in any respect. It's that we recognize it and we hold it in tension. We need our ego to be, to interact outside of ourselves. It's kind of like the face in our world. It's healthy. It's part of the individuation process. So in that sense, it's healthy. It becomes unhealthy when it runs the show. Yeah. So there's that sense of tapping into your higher self, to your soul, to bring that balance between your outward going, your face in the world and your inner life. It's that beautiful kind of enmeshing. We need that balance to see our way forward, whether it's inwardly or outwardly. Okay, so one way to have a look is where does your energy need to be softer? Where does your energy need to be harder? Where do you need boundaries? Where do you need to take more action? If we look at the masculine and the feminine, they're both active. The feminine is active inwardly, the masculine outwardly, in outward action. So inward action, outward action. But if we got balance there, are we balancing our outward action with our inward action? Are we balancing our inward action with our out? It's just that kind of looking at it, we can go inward, we can use our imagination, we can have vision, but we can have no practical planning. Can sometimes be my issue, you know, not having that practicality to kind of manifest that imagination and those beautiful inward qualities in the outside world. So yeah, it's a question of balance for us people today. So have a look at those aspects. You know, if anything came up as I spoke, just look at them. You know, we need balance in our relationships too. You know, are we too tightly boundaried, or are our boundaries non-existent? You know, where do we need to soften? Where do we need to harden? Where do we need to bring that balance between the two? Yeah. So let's pull some lovely shamanic healing cards. And you know what's striking me as I'm looking at this, you know, there's that sense of out in the world, globally, collectively, we need balance. You know, we've got a lot about our differences and diversity at the moment, and while it's really good to embrace everyone's uniqueness, I think the fear is sameness. The fear is the connection that we all have, especially those who are seeking to gain for themselves, you know, that kind of greed that's there out in the world, in the collective. There can be a fear of, you know, what unites us, that oneness. And that can just be a soul's fear of annihilation. If you look at the things that globally unite us, one thing that globally unites us, that makes us all the same, well, there's a few things, but we have death, you know, and the private things, you know, that we all sit on the toilet. I know that's a bit gross, but there's that sense of it's those things we hide from because they make us one. There are things in life that make us all one, and we are often afraid of those things. And I think it's, you know, if you don't have that ego in balance, it's that fear of I'm not unique, I'm going to disappear, you know, disappear into the whole thing. So yeah, or alternatively, you know, if you're melting into the all that is, you can forget to be unique. you can forget to be and participate in the world. Yeah. So I guess that. Right, okay. So we got truth. Balanced in our truth. Discernment. To know the truth, you need discernment. To know balance and divine timing. Yeah, so abundance on the bottom. So yeah, with our discernment, you know, I mean, we need that discernment. We need that ability to see difference and to see unity, to see the balance between the two. We need discernment, which is a bit more than, you know, just making a choice. It's discerning, it is weighing, it is looking at all the permutations around us. It is digging into our intuition. Our intuition plays a huge part in our discernment. Discernment is what we teach our children, hopefully, you know, how to discern between what's right and what's wrong. And we often have to pull ourselves up by the bootstraps and reteach ourselves these things, you know. So that discernment is pivotal for balance, because it is so easy. We live in a world, in the material world, and by nature of this life, there's imbalance. There's the potentiality for imbalance because there's polarities that hold the thing in one. You know, our night and our day. We have, you know, and at the base of matter there's polarity. I keep saying it. It's that negative and positive, you know, that have to come together, and the tension of those that makes matter, brings matter about. And then we have this truth, you know, and sometimes to get that balance, when we're in difficulty, if we bring this down to the mundane, if we feel out of balance, and, you know, a great deal of people do at the moment, they've got more fear than love or hope at the moment. But one of the best ways of coming to that balance is, you know, being discerning, but also getting on that higher perch, getting on that higher place, so that you can see a totality of things. Balance often is out when we're in the details of things. If we are constantly, I mean, we'll take what's going on at the moment. So much information, so much polarizing information, so many varied interests in what is going on at the moment. It's hard to see the wood for the trees. But when we take that higher view, you know, we were talking about ego and higher self, a lot of ego I see, you know, but when we take that higher perspective, and I was talking about difference and sameness, I mean, ultimately we are all one. We're all the water droplets that make up the ocean. You know, I'm talking about that. Yeah, we have uniqueness, but we can get lost. There's a lot of ego. I've got the story on how it all is. I know who's right, I know who's wrong. We don't. We know nothing. And even if things appear right and wrong, you know, we need to grasp the bigger vision of what's going on. You know, that biblical thing, our fight is not with flesh and blood, it is with principalities and powers. Whether you're Christian or not, that is a truth. It's a wisdom that goes through many of the traditions. So sometimes we're not seeing what's working out because we're in the details, and then our ego loves the details because it can use details to kind of think, I know what's going on. Well, actually we don't. But what we do know is what unites us, which is our humanity unites us. It doesn't divide us, it unites us, you know, and that's the truth about the situation. I said before, you know, the truth of the situation is it's wrong to kill, you know. And if you sit on that higher perspective, that higher sense, it doesn't matter who's doing what. We know what actions are wrong that way. That's not egotistical. That's just, you know, life is sacred. We shouldn't take it, harm it, destroy it. It's an overall truth. So that's what I'm saying, this kind of truth. We can get so stuck in the details, and as I said, our ego loves the details, absolutely adores details. I know mine does. My ego would get in on all the details and tell me that I know more than someone else, you know, especially when I'm in a kind of debate or a opposing view. I mean, we're funny creatures, we really are. We need to be more like these eagles, fly higher, get a higher perch and get a bigger truth than our ego would allow us. So that's one way of claiming balance. And we can do that in our everyday, you know. I mean, how easy is it to fall out with the people we love, you know? They do something that irritates us, they say something that hurts us, and we can get in that right, wrong, you're wrong, I'm right, you hurt me, and we can go back and forward forever. But until we get on a higher perch, which is the love we share between one another, yeah, the love we have for one another, we'll just go backwards, forwards, because there's thousands of permutations of detailed truth. So we need that higher truth, that higher perspective. So when we're arguing, you know, keep in mind the higher perch, which is, I love this person, I wish the best for this person. Yeah. And then we have the divine timing. And sometimes, you know, when we're waiting for this balance, when we're seeing, you know, total chaos and imbalance, it can make us impatient. We need to know there is a higher truth. We need to discern that there are things going on that are far beyond any human on this planet, you know. And there's a divine timing in these things. Collectively, we're going through massive transition, absolutely massive global transition. So this is a time where we need to dig into the divine, dig into spirit, dig into that higher truth, our discernment. You know, open to see. Be open, have an open heart. Where do I need balance? Where am I out of balance? How can I be an agent to bring balance? And if we wanna be, you know, people talk about light workers a lot. I think we're all light workers if we choose to be. We're also death dealers and dark workers, really. And there's nothing wrong with that. These things need addressing, the light and the dark. And I don't see dark as wrong. I see it as a gift. I see it as an utter gift. When you're going through dark times, when you've lost, when people you love have died, that darkness brings the most exquisite gifts. That's a higher truth, you know, and our knowing of that truth is a divine timing. So we need to open ourselves to that. And if we're bringing light, you know, make sure the light that's coming is not the illumination of our ego, because actually what we can be doing is adding to that collective shadow. You know, we can be doing things that we perceive as good that are actually bringing division. So I'm not saying don't speak your truth, but make sure your truth is that higher perspective, because we are at a pivotal and transitional time. And the last thing we need to be doing is looking at those polarities and making the distance between them wider in our own personal lives, in our families, or globally. And we can all add to that. We can bring light that there is a truth. And you know, I keep saying it doesn't matter who it is, whether you like them or not. We are all chips off one block. Yeah, and we all have our purpose. You know, those people who come into your life who bring difficulty, strife, who betray, who are angry, who you know, we look at them and go, oh, you know, you're a bad person, you're a whatever person. But actually, in hindsight, we can often discern these were the people that showed us our own shadows and helped us to grow. So yeah, divine timing on that, people. So yeah, we need to be discerning. We need to reach for a higher truth. And you know, truth of our ego can be a very kind of primal, low truth. Nothing wrong with your ego. We need it, but we need to we need to have our ego, the balance of our ego, subjected to our higher self. Yeah. That's a beautiful balance, that is. I've yet to achieve it, I can tell you, but I'm working on it. We all need to just keep working. We're all fine where we are, so long as we're moving forward and not, you know, becoming stagnant. That's it. See, every time I say something, even when I say, oh, not becoming stagnant, even that, you know, periods of becoming stagnant and not moving, they can be learning for later. So it's hard to find anything we do that is wrong or bad, you know, in that sense. Yeah, it's interesting when you go down that path of thinking, that line of thinking. Okay, oh, I pulled it and that flew out, so we'll have that. Oh, we got a bit of fire, people. There we are. This is interesting. You look at all those beautiful candles. You've come into your own, continue to move forward. And what I'm noticing about these are all individual flames. But put all those individual flames in one room, you light up the whole flame, the whole room. So yeah, we got these flames in our heart. They're divine flames. They're sacred flames. We, you know, and collectively we can light up a room. One of those candles, not enough. Might shed a little bit of light in a dark corner, but when so many of us collectively are doing that, it starts really illuminating things. So know that you're coming, or you've come into your own. Continue to move forward. Yeah. Okay, so move forward in love, in light, in, you know, yeah. Okay. Hope that was helpful, people. Lots of love, and I'll see you on Thursday. Bye-bye.